a bit of a back and forth there. I think the Underlord, it's definitely not the most popular offlane, mainly because it's a pretty passive offlaner, right? It can be aggressive with, say, a Rod of Atos build up, but it is not flashy by itself. It doesn't set up for your team as much. Pit of Malice just drops, and sometimes heroes just walk away. So most of the time, you tend to see more team fight oriented offlaners or more aggressive offlaners. Underlord's just very stable. And you mentioned it with the PA. You're not getting full value from Underlord here, as PA, worst case scenario, can sit back and still dagger farm. So you're not going to be completely shutting out the PA, but you do still make it a harder game for her to find that Battle Fury timing here.
Yeah, and on top of that, of course, the PA is just literally going to one-hit Lion and Coddle if she does get a crit later on in the game, which is going to feel very nice. Simply TOOBASED still finishing off with their last pick DP. Looks like it's going to be an offlane DP for Monkeys forever. Fair enough, we've seen a lot of this hero, and it does do some valuable work. Apparently just not worthy of the mid lane anymore, but you know what? I agree with that sentiment. I think it's better off being a support or in the off lane. An unknown team now seeing this, how do they want to respond? They still have their own position 1 to pick up, assuming the Monkey is going to go mid, which I think it is, up against the Void Spirit. Anything in particular you see you'd like into the Death Prophet?
Nothing quite stands out. Maybe you look for illusion-based heroes if you want. Just try to run around, force down DP. She does have decent wave clear with Crypt Swarm, but something like a PL can kind of take over. It's just that PL is also in a very awkward spot. I don't necessarily think the DP offlane is a threat to most safe laners. They already have this Lion or Coddle to kind of break up the jump in. So you're already sort of protected in what you want in pause 1. It's really down to how do you want to deal with a PA. You don't have the option for, say, a Wraith King here early on. You do have options for Ursa or Slark or even something like the Lifestealer that we've seen once or twice.
We need an MKB carrier though, John. I mean, the Lifestealer can, but then it's Lifestealer, which it did work earlier. I mean, it did look good in our previous series, but you know, that was kind of a whitewash anyway of a series, so I don't know if we can really count that as the Lifestealer doing great work or whether it was actually the player. I'd have to lean more towards the player. Unknown team, 4 seconds. Ember. Okay, so safe lane Monkey.
Yeah, that is still an MKB carrier if they do go that route. You do have this matchup, Ember Spirit versus Void Spirit. Mid is, again, down to mechanics, although the Void Spirit should have a slight edge. We've seen that hero pull ahead multiple times based on its kit. But you have options there. In fact, burn a Monkey King. It's going to be safe lane, so it should be our RoboZ Ember Spirit mid. We did just see Ember Spirit fail in the last series. Like, it was not the best showing. That was Gunner playing it, right? Like, he is probably one of the best Embers, of course.
Arguably, just hero. I mean, he's one of really the best. He is very good at the hero, but, you know, I was about to say the best, but then I almost forgot that Anna exists, and, you know, we can't say the best when Anna is still out there somewhere. But yeah, very good Ember. Still, the Ember does look very weak. I do agree with you. In the current meta, just not really receiving any love from the Frozen Frog.
Yeah,
very sad stuff.
At the least, you have the Keeper for Light Ember combo, so you have that Sleight of Fist spam, which kind of compensates for its weak points. I think that's something you have to watch out for from the side of TOOBASED. Their control for something like the Ember isn't amazing. Like, they have Remnant set up into Arrow. Maybe if Monkeys Forever gets a silence, you can really hammer in. But there's a lot of leeway here for RoboZ to dodge, to kind of dance around if you're not careful. So that is something Unknown Team can play with quite nicely. Compare that to the control Unknown Team has. They have Hex, they have Earth Spike, they have Pit of Malice. Tons of ways to keep these heroes down. Even the Monkey King has a stun on him. So it's a bit trickier for you to weave that Void Spirit around. And you're going to have to watch the positioning of Wedge, of Sacred on the Underlord, and make sure you don't get caught out by those spells if you are annihilating that Void Spirit.
Let's see how it all pans out, John. This is going to be game 1 between Simply TOOBASED and Unknown Team. Both teams really want a 2-0 victory. They'd rather not end up in a tie for sure. And it does look like we're going to be in a position where we do have tiebreakers depending on how these games pan out. Especially for Unknown Team, John, they've only got another series left. So not many ways to make points up in this group stage. Simply TOOBASED, they have 2 more after this series. So if they can manage to get it to a... What's that?
This is Unknown's last. This is their actual last series. Their next series was supposed to be against Black and Yellow, but
and
that's
it's a forfeit. Right, so that's a guaranteed win in that case for Unknown. But my point being, John, they need to win this game to really try and get a chance to move up and make it to the playoffs. But simply TOOBASED, who are currently sitting in 7th place, need every win they can get. And I don't think draws are going to be enough to make them feel very confident to make it up to the playoffs. So they are going to be playing as seriously as possible. And like I said, simply TOOBASED, they do have 2 more series after this one. So they've got a few more chances than, say, Unknown to try and make it back up through the groups.
Yeah, it's a really tight spot for TOOBASED right now, though. They are pretty much just above Black and Yellow. So they're the lowest in the group so far compared to the one team that did forfeit out. And they're going to have to win, I think, at least 2 out of 3 series to guarantee a top 4 placement. So it's a long road ahead for them, and would be nice for them to get that ball rolling here. Unknown, on top of this being their last game, I believe if they do actually get 2-0'd here, they don't make top 4. So if they do get completely beat out by TOOBASED, they're not going to make top 4 anymore, and that's a very scary spot for Unknown. They want to ride into those playoffs. You don't want to be eliminated here at groups, of course. So both teams are going to have to go all out, and that should make for a very entertaining series here, at least, Mike.
Yeah, well, we do have a pause straight off the bat, John. Definitely a good sign. I don't think it'd be a series with us casting without some pauses at the start of the game. I get very nervous when we don't have this break time to just talk garbage. Speaking of which, you were very pessimistic about the anime. There's been more trailers coming out, John. Do you wanna express how you feel about it now? Are you more excited about the anime?
I didn't see any trailers. The only thing I saw related was that Slack's lore video.
Oh my
goodness.
Oh,
do you mean since the main trailer came out?
Yes, since the main trailer.
I did. Oh yeah, since the main trailer, it's like, I don't know. There's something about, and I'm gonna get crucified here by people who like, say, Legend of Korra. I just never dug the art style of Avatar, and Korra looked particularly
We don't want to hear it. That's enough. Thank you very much, John. The anime is going to be the best anime in existence. John's just joking. Nobody pay attention.
Hey, if it's not cute girls doing cute things, I don't watch it. I'm a refined man.
Goodness me. Get some help, John. Get some help. Monkey's forever going to move up with his team. 5-man smoke. Ward down. They're going to be able to see the lion. They'll also spot out Sacred, but you definitely want to go after Wizhi. He's going to be the much easier target. The problem is, how do you make the jump in? They'll start with an arrow. Wish he's not really seeing it coming in. Very hard arrow to spot out, because there is a lot of fog during the nighttime. And that's a great start for simply TOOBASED. Mind you, John, it is going to make it very obvious where the Observer Ward is, but you're going to be pretty happy with that bonus First Blood gold.
Yeah, it sets you up well. Giving that to Annihilate just gives him a much easier ride on his mid. He's going to be riding into the bottle a bit faster. I believe he's flying out a additional Tango and his full null. So he's going to be set up with just a few more stats and a few more regen there to help control him. And they should be able to deny this Obs Ward as well if they want to, but looks like they're not giving up just yet in these runes.
RoboZ going to try. Who clicks faster? It is going to be Annihilate, and an arrow does land. RoboZ. Oh, that Earth Spike going to save him from a lot of damage there. They had the tag team active from Empyrean, and if he broke the gap, that may have been a dead ember. Luckily, though, they get him out. I believe that was a 3-for-1 trade on bounties, so it does still favor simply TOOBASED quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's really going to help this mid matchup. Again, when it comes down to Void Spirit versus Ember, where you see Annihilate and RoboZ laning, it's very much a mechanics mid. So it's down to how you space, down to how you use your spells early on. Annihilate does have level 1 Remnant, so he's not going to be able to clear the wave as well as RoboZ can with his level 1 Flame Guard. So he's going to be behind just for a bit, but once the levels come out, it should even out. And RoboZ's going to have to watch himself. An earlier bottle for Annihilate means more sustain, and you don't want that. Still, you have to watch those supports. Maybe they can contest those power runes, and that's where it looks a bit better for TOOBASED. They've got the Mirana for Flea up top. It is laning up with Monkeys Forever on the DP, of course. They can kind of just have Flea rotate out. The DP should hold the lane fine. You can already see him zoning out Chesed quite nicely and arrowing the range creep. So they're getting that steady EXP flow. Have to be really cautious if you are to coddle, as the right-click trade is not favorable for the Keeper of the Light there.
All the Venom on Mirana, which is something you don't see that often, John. How do you feel about that?
I think it's not common, but it kind of works in this case, mainly because you can just run down, especially make it hard for Chesed to just weave in and out. It negates this Windlay start, so it puts Chesed in a bit of a weird spot in terms of trying to run around himself. You would ideally like the Blightstone first, but sometimes there's a case for the Orb, and so far it's been working out fine for Flea. It did help them secure their first blood with additional damage in the slowest. So
I mean,
I'm still overall happy.
I don't know if you could say it helped to secure the first blood, John. It's 2 damage per second for 2 seconds. It's not doing too much. Flea, gonna cop and illuminate. Chesed just gonna run away. Be right. Of course, down at the bot lane as well, you've got Wish there on the line. It's gonna be there along with Sacred. They will be up against Empyrean on the Tusk, and of course the PA being played by Boris. Can still be a difficult lane up against the Underlord even as the PA, especially if they are able to control the lane equilibrium on the side of Unknown, but it looks like Empyrean has managed to kind of switch it back their way, and at least for now, Boris will be able to enjoy some farm underneath his tier 1 tower. They can go for kills as well, don't forget. With that tag team, once you have Dagger Blink Strike, which Boris does, you can certainly try and go after Wish, assuming the Earth Spike is not up.
Yeah, you've got opportunities for aggression there, and you do have to watch your spacing there for Wish. He does get nice wards off, although
they go on him now, but he gets the double Earth Spike into the TP. Nice snowball from Empyrean, and Boris, he almost didn't believe his eyes. He turns right back around, and Wish, he'll just dance. Because that's all you can do when a PA is chasing you. And he'll die, but he'll die in style.
yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, just overextending there. He did get the D-ward off, so the camp's open for a pull if he can find the angle. But Boris is not going to mind at all. He gets a kill, he gets to go back farming Sacred. All he can do is try to clear out that creep wave, and he is finding steady farm as well on the Underlord. But when you don't slow a PA down, it does feel detrimental for the Underlord. Like, you really just want to apply that laning pressure, prevent that opposing safe lane farm, and that's not the case with Boris. He's having a great time here.
Simply TOOBASED mid lane, currently just securing both ends of the power rune. There's going to be up top, a nice regen there for Annihilate, but Robozy is going to start to run up. Now, looks like he already sees the Mirana. He knows he can't contest it, he may as well not waste his time. But that is quite detrimental now for the Ember John. That's a full reset for Annihilate when he wants it. He will be able to hold it for a while. And just based off that, you can argue that Annihilate has barely won out the lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's slightly ahead in last hits, and this is where that early bottle really came into play. It just allowed him to get a little bit more from the lane. You're not able to trade as well. They are finding more in the side lane, so Monkeys is dropping low.
Balance does connect, but Monkeys is not dropping low enough. The Spirit Siphon just healing him right back up, and Burner is just going to go back to farming. Which is one of the nice strengths about the DP into the Monkey, is assuming you get the Spirit Siphon off. The Jingu Mastery doesn't really do that much, as bot lane, Snowball going to be out onto Sacred. Pit Malice is there, Dagger going to fly through with the Blink Strike, and they do get another. Safe lane of Simply TOOBASED going very well thus far. Monkeys Forever being chased up again by Burner, but it's the exact same scenario. He just siphons the Monkey, and they can't kill him, and now Burner looks like he's going to die. Flea going in for this kill and does secure it. Chesed trying to run. Arrow's not going to land, but Crypt Swarm will.
Oh, that was overcommittal from Unknown, trying to chase down for those bounty runes. And a really good arrow coming out from Flea. He knew where the initial jump was coming out from Burna. So they do manage to just contest, take the runes. And it's a 5-0 start for TOOBASED. Like, they might find Empyrean bot, but that's not enough to compensate for the slower start. And they can't. Like, the rollout is there, and you need to use the Malice, the Pit of Malice, to stop him from rolling out. You know, when he initially rolls out, not then. Like, you can still just go in for the initial cast. Ideally, it's after the snowball, so not quite lining it up. Unknown now starting to lag behind a bit. You need to find a way to recover these lanes and get more aggression out. But I suppose when you've got Keeper, Light, and Lion as supports, they don't necessarily get the most rotations out, and the mid lane's probably their best bet, but Annihilate's now level up.
Definitely not very good news if you are an Unknown fan. RoboZ catching up nicely though, it's not too far behind, still essentially the same in CS as well. RoboZ now with a double damage rune, gonna try and make his way towards the top lane. That double damage, you are gonna have a lot of damage out with that Sleight of Fist, and he's gonna pop it now. Trying to go onto Flea, they'll know he's there. Empyrean, how do you get yourself out of this one? Well, the question is, how do they get Monkeys Forever out of this one? Because that's the target. Arrow not going to land. Sleight of Fist dodge is there, but now Empyrean jumping right in. The Remnants aren't far enough. He didn't have an emergency Remnant out. He was just too confident.
Oh boy, that... I get why he was trying to be aggressive. He did go max Sleight of Fist, so if they did get the chakra off, you could spam it out a bit more, but that was way too far forward, and all of a sudden, TOOBASED 3k up, 7-0. First Exorcism doesn't quite melt the tower. They do get the deny, but that opens up that lane, and it forces our Monkey King now to go bot, so Burn is going to have to lane against the PA, but Boris already has 6. 2 parts into the Battle Fury. This is Naked Battle Fury as well. But it's not being punished, and Boris should have a very early timing because of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you can afford to go Naked Battle Fury like this, you should do it every single time. And Boris understands. He's not being pressured. He could go for this freely. He's got it up now. I believe the courier will be on the way very soon.
Swifter than ever.
And that is going to be a pretty big cause of concern for Unknown. They haven't really been able to slow him down whatsoever.
No,
Unknown now gonna
moving their heroes now, but
it's too late.
They
He's
can't
gone.
really push well. Yeah, it's an issue. Like, your Lion Pause 4 is still level 4 at 8.5 minutes in, so you aren't remotely close to your finger combinations coming out yet, and the game's just slowing down. Sacred is still finding farm, which is nice, but that is an Underlord. Like, him having farm, him having levels isn't necessarily amazing. You need to play with your supports here, and they do smoke up as Tree Man. They might find Boris up top maybe, and perhaps they have the damage. They do have good control, so if they get a good Illuminate off, that could be enough.
We're looking for Burner down bot. A bit of a smoke there from Simply TOOBASED. The scan not really landing, and Burner being very careful. Meanwhile, top lane, Boris has finally been caught out. They have the damage output, and they will take him down. That's a real shame too, because his courier was on the way with the Void Stone, but they found Burner. So they kind of just evened it out on the map. It's going to feel okay for Simply TOOBASED.
Yeah, it's some decent punishment coming in. A bigger kill coming out for Unknown, slowing down that PA. And it's a bit better for them in that case. At the least, they get the punishment. The PA is bigger, so it is worth more gold. TOOBASED aren't going to be too upset, though. They were playing up there without ward. Perhaps it's time for the supports to give Boris some of that vision, but they are forcing a fight in the triangle.
Yeah, 10-minute power runes. RoboZ gonna try and scout this out. Doesn't know anyone's there with the Moonlight Shadow. He's still gonna get away though. The Aether Remnant didn't lock him in. Empyrean is gonna try and run. They'll still get the bounty, but they will lose their task. 2 bounties still will be secured there on Annihilate, and the top ones will basically go the same way. One of them went the way of the Ember. By the way, John, I have to correct myself. In a moment, because Monkeys Forever is currently being chased down with the chains out, he's going to pop the Exorcism and try to chase down RoboZ for a bit. RoboZ actually has no remnants out right now. He's going to try and fight with the chains, running away again. He now has 1 remnant, and it might just be enough, but the ghosts are still chasing him, haunting him all the way back down to his tier 2 tower, and now Shazid, he stuck around in case he needed a help, but he's going to die. Nowhere is safe up against this DP. They'll Earth Spike him underneath the tier 2 tower, and Wish will be able to finger him down. But they got a lot out of that rotation from the DP, John. And back to what I was trying to correct myself on. Boris didn't actually have the Battle Fury. He still needs to buy the Broadsword. Just FYI.
Yeah, he didn't queue it up earlier for some reason, but it's still gonna be up, right? Like the battle, it's basically done now. He's just flying it out. So you're still hitting some really good farm spikes here on a PA. Unknown have yet to hit that spike, and they might lose more.
No, they ate the Remnant again, just off target here from Annihilate. And you can easily secure the kills once the 8th Remnant does connect, because you have the follow-up arrow from Flea. But he is kind of relying on you to land that Remnant. This Flea, he hasn't gone for a Yule Scepter himself, he's gone for a Spirit Vessel. And still, they do maintain a 3k net worth lead on Simply TOOBASED. I don't think they're too concerned about these little mistakes being made. Overall, the game is still going very well for them, but Unknown. Now they're going to try and get something done about this. But Empyrean, good positioning to break the smoke. And he'll tank the gank for his team. Jump in, Annihilate, Yule's out, arrow follow-up, all of it will connect this time. And that's what you call a great trade.
Oh yeah, that's not what Unknown wants. They find a pick off with that smoke, and then they lose their Ember just from the reach TOOBASED have. They have such long reach with the Yule's up on Annihilate that they can just find that burst damage off and get those kills. The one thing coming out for Unknown is that there is space for Burna to farm. So he's got the Javelin up, he's saving into the Maelstrom, just to have a way of hitting through the PA with some procs coming through. This can be one way to get that job done. It's just not coming out fast enough, and because he didn't go Battle Fury, as the game drags on, the farm difference between PA and Monkey should widen.
That it should. I don't think the Maelstrom's even going to be enough. They're going to need a lot more than that to do with Boris, especially once he gets the BKB up. Which it does look like he's going to go back for the treads now. He'll probably feel the need to pick up a Desolator for some damage. And then I imagine after the Deso, you just pick up a BKB. And that's when the real problem does start for Unknown, because they'll have no way to hit him through the BKB and the evasion. And I wonder what Unknown team intend to do about it.
I think what would help is maybe a fast blink on Wish. If you can just catch the PA out and get your combo off first, the BKB doesn't become as much of an issue. The issue is there's not enough space for the line to really build that up into the blink. So he's just trying to save for Aether Lens, get as much as he can from the sides. Every time you have Finger Off, though, I think Unknown should be looking for movement across. You don't want to keep the spell up. You want to keep trying to find even support pickoffs for that spell, but they're not really able to. They don't have too much forward control on the map. They've got one forward ward on the bot jungle, but TOOBASED has not been playing there. They've just been setting their eyes mid. Now that mid tier 1 has been standing for a long time from Unknown. You are up against a DP, and Monkeys must be feeling frustrated, wanting to go in. So they should commit sooner rather than later, but up top...
Arrow, not going to connect on the Monkey. Recall is there from our keeper. They'll bring in Sacred. They really want to try and gank up that PA, and maybe now with Burna, they'll try to bait them back in. But it looks like Simply TOOBASED aren't really falling for the bait, and instead they're going to go after that mid-tier 1 tower. And Sacred will just TP right back in with the Underlord and make sure that is defended. By the way, John, interesting build-up on Monkeys Forever. He went for a Holy Locket Rush.
Yep, I don't mind that. Like, the heal you get from Siphon makes it nearly impossible to burst him down if he's in the middle of it. And even the Exorcism return just gonna pop him back to full if he lasts long enough. So you have to be careful about that durability here in Monkeys.
It's a nice 3-man silence, but they are gonna get the Pit of Malice off. Arrow, however, Wish, it's gonna stun him up. Wukong's command coming in, the heal just keeping him alive. The finger, it does come out in time. Wish, he'll die to the Spirit Vessel. Meanwhile, Annihilate trying to run away. Nice chains out, RoboZ, he holds them down. Annihilate though, he has steps available to just get away. Meanwhile, Empyrean going right into the backline after the Keeper of the Light, and so will Flea. They want that Coddle dead. Burna even falling quite low here, but they are going to find Annihilate. Things are going pretty nicely here for Unknown. Flea will try and leap away, and looks like he is probably going to be okay. Or maybe not, because RoboZ is not done. Nice chains out again from the Ember. The pounce in from Burna, but We have a rotation in from Monkeys Forever. Flea, he's already down. Sacred trying to Dark Rip. About to die on the Underlord and will go down eventually. They want to go for more. Boris is around. Monkeys Forever still chasing down Robo Z. Looks like that'll be enough. Ultimately a good team fight for Unknown. But it's not over. There's more. Wish, no, they're going to go after another, but again the Remnant going to connect on a creep. So they can't lock down the Ember Spirit. They will spot out the line any second now. I Annihilate, he'll get stunned up, but Boris will Blink Strike right in with a great crit. The chains are now out. Boris locked in with the Pit of Malice, but a nice silence. Still the chains out now from Robo Z, locking him down again. But he'll Blink Strike out. And that's going to be about it. Simply TOOBASED. They back off with a 4k net worth lead. Unknown. No, they're not done yet. I Annihilate back in after the Ember now. They've got Robo Z, and they will be able to take him out this time.
Oh, that's big. That really turns the fight all the way towards TOOBASED's end. You can see the issues they have controlling that Ember. Like, the Coddle spam is just way too much. You never run out of mana here for Robo Z, but it's not quite enough. He overstays just a bit. They lose their mid-tier 1, so that opens up the map now for TOOBASED to start invading, preventing that farm from coming out on the Monkey King. And that could be an issue. You're not that farmed on the side of Unknown, being 5k behind. Burna still hanging on at 7.5k net worth. That is very behind a PA now, and again, that gap is widening as the Battle Fury gets used a lot more. It's just so much more efficient for Boris in the jungle. He's got the Desolator flying in. That should be the BKB next. And with the burst damage on hand with Boris, not much is going to survive unless you get the Wukongs off. It's going to be a scary time to face into that PA.
Love the fact that Boris also found an Imclaw. So, you know, any added crit is always nice. And Boris now with the Deso wants to go straight into that Roshan. And it's such a fast Roshan, along with the Exorcism and the tag team. But 18 minutes into this game, they are making it look very easy. So that Roche is just going to die, and Boris now has the Aegis up. It's kind of almost like a BKB now for Boris. Just before he gets his own BKB, but they're going to start a team fight. Pit of Malice is down onto Monkeys. I Annihilate jumping in with the 8th Remnant straight onto Wish. They blow up the line. He's gone. I Annihilate wants a bit more, but he has no way to lock them down yet. Remnant off the mark. Chesed gonna try and run. There's the Imclaw crit coming in from Boris. Arrow, oh, it lands on the Ember, but can they blow him up in time? He's been silenced, he is gonna die. Boris, however, in very deep. Should lose the Aegis, but no. He'll Blink Strike away. This
Holy
is
locket. Just
it's very strong. It is very, very strong. Sacred silence is there. He can't get the Pit of Malice out. Nice Earth Spike though from Wish, but look at this. I Annihilate right into the back lines, getting all the vision in the world. Sacred is going to go down. Burner stunned in the tree. He will be able to pounce out. Wish, he somehow survives as he got onto the high ground just in the nick of time. So they could not really just dagger him down. But they leave with an 8k net worth advantage, and Aegis is still in hand.
Oh man, this is difficult now for Unknown. They dropped the Wukongs there, so they're not going to have that for the next fight. And that next fight will have Exorcism out from Monkeys, so they can set their eyes mid, force out a tier 2. They don't have too much downtime here because of how they space their spells out. And the side of Unknown just want the farm. They know they're too far behind on Burna, too far behind on Robo Z. He is saving up for his Maelstrom and is very close. That should help, but again, it's just not enough at this point. Not just yet. They need more to flow out.
They're chasing Wish down on the line. Meanwhile, Empyrean being caught out by the Pit of Malice. Back to Wish, however. He's going to die. Now Boris, I believe, going for a team fight by himself. Onto Robo Z. Robo's going to go for a bit of a run, but there's your chains out. The Aegis should expire now and does. The cavalry is coming in, but Sacred does put a Pit of Malice down to block their way. That's going to be it. It's like it did end up kind of favoring Unknown. So they do at least get the Aegis away from Boris. So it should make them feel a little bit more comfortable until the BKB's up on this PA.
Yeah, that should stall them out from going too deep on the push. But and it has stalled out long enough that Wukong's is back up. So Berna could look to join this fight. Boris has to be slightly cautious. He's very close to BKB though, just basically lacking the recipe. That's it. So maybe if he just plays patient, he comes in with a BKB, and suddenly there's just no way to keep him down. Not with the farm Unknown has. They still have to be a bit cautious here.
Burner, arrow, not gonna land, but there's Annihilate. With that Aether Remnant to lock him down. They have so much damage output to just burst him down immediately. They're gonna get Empyrean, but he won't mind. It's a great trade for simply TOOBASED. And now with the Moonlight, they might just go right back in, but RoboZ, he did spot out Annihilate. Aether Remnant still down now with the arrow follow-up, and Boris jumps in. They do at least get the Void Spirit, but Boris might be able to clean up now. He's looking at Chesed. He'll take down one. Wish will get crit to death by Boris with the Imp Claw. And Sacred, he's going to TP away. But this is just such a one-sided affair.
Yeah, it's not going in any way for Unknown right now. 11k lead, 24-11 at 22 minutes in is pretty darn big here for TOOBASED. And they can start to look for more objectives, but the BKB's up for Boris. They have nothing to worry about in the PA anymore. Like, all the holes are plugged in. And not until we see maybe an MKB to really tie it in for a Monkey King will you start to worry about that hero. So there's a lot of room for Boris to really just play his game. And Unknown still need to work this map somehow. Their tier 2 still stand. That's very good news for them as the Exorcism doesn't lead to a shove. But they need to be very cautious about how they take these next few fights. They are smoked up though.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Unknown, they're going to try. Monkeys, first one they see, but he has a Yules, he has a great silence, and Boris. Ouch. They don't know he has a BKB up yet either. They're going to find out the hard way in a second as Annihilate catches out the Ember again, and the jump in, the damage, not going to be enough yet, but it might be just soon. The Illuminate was huge, but it's not going to do enough. Boris is just having his way with Unknown. One left, and Sacred will die. A full team wipe. You got Annihilate at least. I mean, it's still a nice kill. It's just not really good enough when you lose your whole team.
Nah, you basically don't gain anything because you dropped everyone there. And TOOBASED, they can just get started on the tier 2s. It really comes down to the sustain for Monkeys. This Holy Locket he has really enabled Boris to just stand in front. Get so much heal out from that burst pop. And even Monkeys is never under threat when he gets 3 Spirit Siphons off. You need to throw Finger out onto the DP, but then you want to save that for the PA or the Void Spirit. Makes it very hard to make those choices. And now that Monkeys has this Lotus Orb as well, there's a lot of potential for a lot of spells to bounce back towards the Way of Unknown, and they can just simply purge off a lot of control that can fly out onto Boris or Annihilate. So it's much harder to lock in these heroes now.
What do you do if you're Unknown with this draft? I mean, your power spike is really the mid game. Sure, you could make the argument that they have late game scaling with the Monkey Ember, especially with the Coddle around, but up against the PA, it's pretty tough to be convinced of that, John. And now Boris has a double damage room bottled up. It's really tough to imagine them being able to outscale this PA.
Yeah, they need so much farm to get that done. Like Coddle Ember is still going to be strong, so the Ember Spirit's going to be relevant into the late, but he needs items to stay relevant. It's just not coming out. There's just way too much sustain on TOOBASED for them to really hammer them in, and they're just going to start digging through the objectives. Roche is still a long way away, although...
Well, they've caught out the Ember again. RoboZ having a very tough game thus far. He's going to Remnant out. Wukong's command down. Burner, he's going to try and fight back. Who have they got in there? It's going to be Monkeys, but he's just going to run right away. Instead, they'll go on to Empyrean with the Finger and burst him down, but now the Exorcism is out. They have caught Wish. The Lion is set to die and does. Arrow, Burner, going to be scouted out by Flea with the Spirit Vessel as well. And Monkeys wants to continue going with this ulti. The Holy Locket keeping him very healthy on this DP. And look at the damage output, Sacred. He can't even get the car warmed up, John.
Oh boy. That is rough for Unknown. Like, the Underlord's supposed to be this tanky offlaner. He went for plate mail. He didn't go for pipe. He didn't go for any of those early pickups to mitigate some damage. He went for drums instead. So he's not giving durability for his team, not enough, and he is very squishy without that kind of itemization. Unknown, 19k behind, 31 to 14. Dota Plus now giving us a 98% win probability here for TOOBASED, only 2% the side of Unknown. They are holding off. Like, TOOBASED have not made moves onto the high ground. They still have 2 outer towers to play with, so the map is still a little bit more open, or although barely, as they can't really roam around here. But they've still got some farm flowing, they've still got some scaling. It's just not enough, and they need to win these bigger fights. Like, the Wukongs comes out, the Ags is there in Burna. It just doesn't feel impactful at all.
Not yet, it doesn't. See if he can transition. But man, with that Aghanim Scepter out on Boris, and even the BKB on Annihilate, it's looking very, very tough. TOOBASED in the mid lane again. They understand these power spikes so well. I mean, they've got a 20k net worth lead. And really the only unfortunate part for them at the moment is the Roshan is going to be a bit of a late timer. But I have a feeling they don't mind too much.
No, they're holding that top jungle well. They're just clearing out the camps. They're getting the tier trees ahead of the side of Unknown. It's a bit slower for Unknown because it's only really Burna
Sacred
farm that top jungle.
Oh, he's had his staircase blocked off. He's going to be able to walk around the long way. It's like TOOBASED is just going to go right back for that tier 2 top tower. Boros will go ahead and take care of it himself.
Yeah, it's simple. Desolator up, right-click damage is just really darn good. And there's just no way to stop it. They have to watch their high ground now. 2 tier 2s gone. Exposes the high ground for an easier flank from the top lane if they wanted to commit. They do have Exorcism up here, so they can try to play.
It looks like they aren't going to commit yet. I think they are going to be a bit more conscious and just try and go for that Roshan as soon as it's up, rather than trying to force a high ground push without that extra Aegis and cheese. Just definitely the smart play to make, and they've only got 20 seconds or so left to wait for it as well. And of course, the courier's already in the pit, so they're going to know immediately when it's up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't think Unknown can contest it either. I think the only play for Unknown while they go for the Roshan is just split push the bot lane and maybe force them back after the Roshan by a bit more time. But that's really it. Like, you can't fight into the Roshan pit right now up against the simply TOOBASED side. There's no way.
No, it's too difficult. They have good area control with Pit of Malice and Arena, but it's not enough. It never seems enough, and that Rosh is up. They've got easy access on TOOBASED. There are no wards here from Unknown. They could try and maybe attempt a smoke play, but it's not going to last long. It just absolutely melts. Look at the damage on Boris. Rosh is just gone.
Yep. Easy does it. So they'll give the Aegis over to Boris. Maybe Annihilate will take the cheese. Thankfully, nobody forgets the cheese this time, John, as we've had that multiple times over the past couple of days.
I don't know why people don't like cheese. Cheese is great. Pick up your cheese, guys.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Don't eat too much cheese, though, because it does tend to put on weight a little bit, John. I found out the hard way.
That's true, but do what you want. If you love cheese, just have it. You know, cheese is always good, except in Dota strats. Never cheese. Still, Unknown, they could use a little cheese of themselves right now, if I'm honest. Mike, 21k behind. Moonlight Shadow out, so they're going to try to hunt before going onto the high ground.
Recall is there on Burner. It's going to be brought back. They understand they're going to be defending high ground very, very soon here on Unknown. They do completely buy out on Burner, so he has the Eye of Skadi up, but he's left himself no buyback gold. Simply TOOBASED, if they were to push in right now, it would kind of be an all-in play here from Burner. Hell, even in a couple minutes, I don't think he'll have enough gold for buyback. But we'll see if Simply TOOBASED feel confident enough to make that high ground play soon. I think for now they're just going to address the bot lane and just get this pushed out first. And then once all the lanes are pushed in towards unknown is probably about the time they try to go high ground.
Yeah, just being cautious once more. Maybe even waiting out for the Ags here on Annihilate, just wanting that silence first. There is no defensive items up here on the side of Unknown. We're not seeing any fast BKB, so the silence will absolutely wreck them once that's up on the Void Spirit. That could just be another timer they wait for, and they've got all the time in the world. 23k up. Unknown are sort of recovering. Like, Burna, all things considered, is third in network, just right behind Monkey. So you're actually doing pretty okay on the Monkey King, considering that it was a slow start and there's really not much to farm for. But they need a little bit more. So if TOOBASED go a bit too slow, they might give that room out. But they catch one.
Yep, there's your Aether Remnant. Connecting on Sacred, he's going to try and run away. Earth Spike not quite there in time. BKB was popped by Boris, so he's going to go and try to get another straight onto the Keeper underneath the tier 4 towers. But now the Hex is out. This could be a great opportunity to waste the Aegis, and it looks like they are going to be able to get it. Now Monkey's forced to dive in with the Exorcism to try and help out this PA, but Boris, he's going to be able to Blink Strike out. A lot being used up here by simply TOOBASED. They might just commit anyway with the huge net worth lead. They've pulled in the Monkey with the Aether Remnant Burner going onto the low ground, and he's going to die. That's a great Aether Remnant there by Annihilate. And there's no buyback, of course. He bought the Eye of Scardia. Annihilate back in, but the chains are there with the Finger and the Hex. They burst him down. Problem is the Coddle is also dead. Boris, he's just going in by himself now. He's the one holding the cheese again. Sacred? I don't know if that's safe. Hit a Malice? No, he's just jumping in. Boris, he's got the Aghanim Scepter. And they have got the Underlord. The only one left is going to be RoboZ. And I don't think he can defend this on his own. It looks like a minimum of 2 Raxes, maybe even 3.
Yeah, this is not the situation Unknown wanted to see themselves in. At least they don't have to worry about Aegis, and they kind of slow down Annihilate's timing into the Ags, but they're still going to drop a lot of objectives. Once the Monkey King's back, they will have Wukongs. Maybe they can play with Wukongs plus Pit, but the Underlord's going to be dead for a bit longer than that, so it's not going to line up exactly. And it's really hard to approach. They can stall out with a Blinding Light. PA doesn't enjoy that, but still doesn't feel like it's enough.
Shards out, Arrow, not going to land on RoboZ. Very close call. Still the mid-racks in danger. They've got Burner. Moonlight Shadow, they're out of there. Wish, Earth Spike is out onto Boris, but he still has the cheese, and they're going to turn right back around now. Shards not going to lock in the line. Wukong's going to be committed here by Burner. They know it's down now. They might go back after. They're waiting. Like,
yeah.
Monkeys has the Exorcism back up.
Yeah, this is tough. Wukong's is their big spell. Without it, a minute 10. Without any good team fight, and there's that Ags up on Annihilate, so he can get the silence off as well.
He jumps right in. He wants the Ember down. RoboZ can he get the BKB off in time. Monkeys is saved. Thanks to Lotus Orb flying out in time, and now Boris is just going to clean up everybody. Just so easily, Burner dies. Again, no buyback. And it's about time they call the GG, and they do. Unknown, unable to pull off this game 1, and simply TOOBASED, making it look simply too easy.
Oh yes, very, very well played coming out from TOOBASED. They got those first blood. They got the first blood. They managed to rotate around, grabbed a lot of kills. And Unknown, it looked really shaky. They couldn't secure the power runes for their Ember as much. They couldn't secure as much farm as well for Burna's Monkey King. And I think when they were forced to flex the Monkey, that's where it kind of fell flat. Like, they were forced to run Monkey safe instead of Monkey mid up against the Void Spirit. They had to last pick an Ember to kind of counteract and kind of redo the build, because a mid Monkey doesn't necessarily go for MKB fast. And it just fell flat. So we'll see if Unknown Team fixes up that playstyle for game number 2. TOOBASED are looking back in form. This is the TOOBASED we were used to seeing in the NADPC lower div. They looked shaky at the start of this tournament. It looks like they have gelled together with Flea quite well, and we'll see if they can maintain that for that second game.
We shall. It's MLP Dota and johnxfire, and we'll be back in 10 minutes for Game 2's draft.